in the inaugural running of the Pennsylvania Derby.
Since 1979, the Pennsylvania Derby has delighted horse racing fans here in the Commonwealth. We've had Kentucky Derby winners like California Chrome grace our oval. Hall of Fame trainers Bob Baffert, Dwayne Lucas have made the trip to Bensalem. It's the last chance for these three-year-olds to make an impression for the World Championships, that is the Breeders' Cup, in early November. Today, Baffert brings in Los Alamitos Derby winner Reincarnate. Baffert has won 3 of the last 5 Pennsylvania Derbies.
Reincarnate has come back to life on his return to California.
Not to be overlooked, Saudi Crown could be a rising star for the Brad Cox barn.
Saudi Crown, Forte, here's the line, photo finish!
Grade 1 Cotillion has some royalty as well. Kentucky Oaks winner Pretty Mischievous comes in having won 3 straight Grade 1 victories.
Pretty Mischievous gambling girl, Pretty Mischievous held on!
2 Grade 1s, $2 million races. It's Pennsylvania Derby Day. Next, from Parks, Casino and Racing.
The horse wasn't happy about the rain either. First day of fall, and the sky, kind of fell. Lots of rain in Bensalem, PA. Started early this morning, expected to continue. It's windy, it's blustery, but this is still Pennsylvania Derby Saturday, the day this crowd has been waiting for. Rain or shine, always a great party, always a great day of thoroughbred racing, of which you'll see 3 live Gallant Stakes races. The rundown, Gallant Bob just moments away. By moments, it's more like 12 minutes. Fast sprinters there. We'll recap the Turf Monster run earlier today. And the main events, Grade 1 $1 million Cotillion and Grade 1 Bet Parks $1 million Pennsylvania Derby. Just outside the paddock and undercover, welcome everyone to Parks Casino and Racing alongside Dick Girardi. I'm Lafitte Pinkai. This is the first day of fall or the first day of winter, man?
I think it's December, Lafitte. They say it's like 57. I'm not buying it. The wind, I don't know, 30 miles an hour or so. But you know what? It's great racing, and we're here. We got a few more races to go.
Outdoor sport, play the hand you dealt, Dick. This day, though, big picture, why so exciting? Why such an important event in thoroughbred racing, the Pennsylvania Derby?
Yeah, it's everything for this state, and it's become such a major prep race for the Breeders' Cup. We've had horses go on from the Pennsylvania Derby to win Breeders' Cup Classics. And this particular race this year, Lafitte, we'll see if we can get anybody to sanity.
That's coming up, the Grade 1 Pennsylvania Derby post time around 6:10 Eastern. Race 13, the field, 3-year-olds deep. It's competitive. Number 3, Saudi Crown, not the morning line favorite, probably likely the post time favorite. And on the far outside, number 11, Reincarnate. He's the morning line favorite at 3-1, trained by 2-time Triple Crown winning trainer Bob Baffert. Reincarnate, Dick, arrived from California on Tuesday. There he is. Like, what makes him a serious Penn Derby contender?
Yeah, it was interesting. Bob Baffert didn't like the 11 post. I do. Lafitte, I think that puts him right in the race. I don't think it's an issue out there. He should get pretty good position going into the first turn. And the fact that Bob specifically pointed him for this race, the Los Al Derby, and then he gave him a couple of months, and he's ready to go.
Training up a storm. Yeah, Bob Baffert, he's in the Hall of Fame, Dick, but far from the only Hall of Fame trainer in this Pennsylvania Derby.
Yeah, if you add up all them, that you're talking about $1.5 billion in purses.
That's with a B?
That's with a B, and a combined 25,000 wins among the 4 trainers listed.
Not surprising to see that kind of star power at this track on this day. Same can be said for the Grade 1 Cotillion. One name jumps off the screen. Number 3, Pretty Mischievous, Kentucky Oaks winner, 2-1 morning line favorite, and rightfully so. Number 5, a cult blowout winner of the Monmouth Oaks. Number 7, Defining Purpose. She's won at the highest level. Grade 1 Ashland winner this spring at Keeneland. Very strong addition to the Grade 1 Cotillion as we welcome in Maggie Wolfendale standing by in the paddock or right behind us. Maggie, why should our viewers be so excited to see Pretty Mischievous run this afternoon?
Well, Lafitte, they should be excited because she is well on her way to a championship season for 3-year-old fillies as she's seeking her 4th Grade 1 in a row. Now, her last last 2 wins, they have come around 1 turn, but now she's back around 2 today, and her trainer, Brendan Walsh, believes she is best at this type of distance, and 2, he said she is doing better heading into this race than any point of the year so far, so that's exciting to see. We'll have more on her story coming up a little bit later on the broadcast, but now we will go over to Matt Court and Danny Gibson. And while, guys, the weather may be foul, the fans are always fantastic on Pennsylvania Derby Day.
Thanks, Maggie. They sure are. And Matt and I have been surrounded by fans all day that have been looking forward to this all year. It is our biggest day in Pennsylvania horse racing. They say they're not only excited to see the national names that they watch on the big stage, but the local horses that have been so competitive here on this very track. And the excitement mounts as the big race is near. Matt, how are you feeling?
First off, Danny, thanks for having me. This is a blast. I'm not the biggest horse racing fan, but I'm going to go inside, show people there's a 360 photo booth that whips around. I'm going to do that. They have the PA Horse Racing virtual booth, so I'm going to put on the goggles. I'm going to win my first race. Face painting, I'm thinking maybe a unicorn on one side and Smarty Jones on the other side, plus the food, the drink, so it's going to be a lot of fun inside the grandstand today. Sounds
great. Back to you, Lafitte and Dick.
We'll make a horse racing fan out of him yet. Much more with Danny, Matt, and Maggie throughout the broadcast here. Meantime, zeroing in on post time for the first race of the show. Grade 2 Gallant Bob in the slop. Always exciting 3-year-old sprinters going as fast as they can right from the opening bell. And you do have co-favorites, number 5 Nautical Star and number 9 Rivet, currently 5-2 with about 7 minutes to post. When we come back, you'll see the Gallant Bob, and there is Rivet. Fast, dangerous, talented, now the 2-1 favorite in the Gallant Bob. Just getting started at Parks Casino and Racing. Pennsylvania Derby Saturday in Bensalem. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Parks Casino and Racing. Pennsylvania Derby Saturday. Horses warming up. Gallant Bob, these 3-year-olds. Number 5 Nautical Star, 5-2 Rivet. The favorite 2-1 as they hit the track just moments ago. Track listed as sloppy. And we're going to start with number 2, Dreaming of Kona, pictured. Currently, I lost the price. I can't see it. Well, 13-1.
Should have some speed. You would think from the inside. Speed's been pretty good today, Lafitte.
Scratch number 3, Freedom Road, a Damon's Mound, last summer's Saratoga Special winner at Saratoga.
Yeah, most recently won the Hilton Memorial at Charlestown and looked good doing it.
There's Damon's Mound. And there was that losing streak for about a year, but then got back on track.
Yeah, that was really good. I don't know if it was Charlestown or the horse just got good again.
Nautical Star and Star jockey around Ortiz.
Tried the Florida Derby, no good at all. Then a long layoff, big race off the layoff.
Praetorian Guard bouncing on his toes, 24-1 outsider.
Yeah, this is Lou Linder, one of the local trainers. 3 locals have horses in this race.
Sir Lancelot, Johnny Velasquez, Hall of Famer, 2 wins on the afternoon.
Johnny V, always dangerous. Another horse who should be near the pace.
DePoli pictured the gray at 50-1 would be a shock.
It would indeed. He ran 4th behind Gordian Knot, who we're going to get to in a minute, most recent race.
Rivet, current favorite, 5-2, 3 minutes out.
Yeah, if he can come back to that spring form, Lafitte, he's going to win. His last 2 races puzzling.
On the outside, Gordian Knot, 6-1. He's sharp, quick, talented.
Really good PA bred, trained by Parks Hall of Famer Lupe Preciado, who won this race last year with Scaramouche.
Looking for another. Scaramouche last year. See if he can go back-to-back. Another look there at Rivet. Jockey Tyler Gaffleone, terrific summer at Saratoga. A star on the ascend. Dick, what makes Rivet the horse to beat?
Yeah, his speed, I think, Lafitte, and I like horses at this track that have speed and have an outside post. That's historically been the place to be. And on this track, you want to be nearer the front because you do not want to get kickback. And there is a ton of kickback, as Lafitte mentioned. It started raining before either of us woke up this morning.
Rivet, those University of Texas colors you saw, no coincidence. Owners Bill and Corrine Heideckbrook, big UT supporters. And another look at Damon's Mound. As we mentioned, that big win in the Saratoga Special at Saratoga, and maybe this is the start of something special, maybe a Triple Crown prospect the following year. And then he just kind of struggled for a while.
And there are races that he's run that can win this race.
Damon's Mound at 7-2. Over to Maggie.
Lafitte, I got a little bit of a long shot for you. That's number one, 90% Maddie, as Butch Reed and his team look for another win on this PA Derby card. 90% Maddie's one that is turning back in distance. So that means he's going from 2-turn longer races to this 1-turn 6 furlongs. And I've always thought that he's a horse that is built more for these sprint distances. Furthermore, he is on his toes and he is sharp. So I don't think it's going to be a scenario of him being outrun early. He's going to be stalking those early leaders, and his trainer Butch Reed is very confident in his chances today as well.
8-1. Butch Reed looking for a second stakes win in the afternoon. Paco Lopez, who just won the last stakes race here at Parks, Nautical Star, and Arad Ortiz, one of the very best in the world, coming off a 5th riding title at Saratoga.
Yeah, and this is a fascinating horse, Lafitte, because they thought enough of him to put him in the Florida Derby off at a real early career. It's like, what are you doing? And he obviously wasn't ready for it, but Sappy Joseph did the right thing. They said, you know what, we're going to regroup, we're going to give him a long time off. That race at Gulfstream, as we just said, that's the kind of race that gives him a real opportunity here.
You're on board with Junior Alvarado. Getting ready to load here aboard Damon's Mound. See that sloppy track. Horses beginning to file into the starting gate. These 3-year-olds in a race that could have, and historically has had implications on the Breeders' Cup. Triniberg, who ran second in this race about a decade ago, came back to capture the Breeders' Cup Sprint at 13-1.
And Jackie's Warrior won this race a couple of years ago, was the favorite in the Breeders' Cup Sprint.
Jackie's Warrior, trained by Steve Asmussen, as is Rivet, the favorite, at 2-1 post time for the Gallant Bob. We're all set. Jessica Paquette standing by with the call.
And now they're all in. Off and racing in the Gallant Bob Stakes. Rivet caught a flyer out of the gate. He's being hustled to lead, but Sir Lancelot also quick out of the gate, and Sir Lancelot, he and Rivet are going to hook up early, tracking in third, just about 2-3 lengths off the front running pair. Damon's Mound, then it's Nautical Star in on the rail, Pennsylvania bred, 90% Maddie to his outside, Dreaming of Kona. Then it's Gordian Knot, another 2 back to the gray. That's DePoli and Praetorian Guard here. He is where he likes to be. He can see them all at the back. The opening quarter, 21-3. Sir Lancelot maintaining that tenuous advantage over Rivet, comes right back at him. Those two are slugging it out as they make their way into the turn. Rivet now at the advantage. Sir Lancelot in second. Damon's Mound beginning to move alongside Nautical Star. Those 3 across the track. Sir Lancelot's backing up now. Rivet hanging tough, but Damon's Mound now has the lead on the outside. Nautical Star. Gordian Knot trying to pick up some pieces as hit the top of the stretch, the half, 45-1. Rivet's coming right back. Damon's Mound is game on the outside. Nautical Star. Here comes 90% Maddie with a big run from off the pace. Damon's Mound is fighting on. Damon's Mound will not let Nautical Star by. There's a 16th left to go. Damon's Mound and Junior Alvarado, they're going to take the Gallant Bob. Damon's Mound wins over Nautical Star, followed by Gordian Knot and 90% Maddie.
He has found his winning stride. The Saratoga Special winner last summer at Saratoga, a long losing streak, a stakes win at Charlestown, and now the Grade 3 Gallant Bob. Damon's Mound at, wow,
all the money came
9-5.
in.
9-5 at post time.
All the money came in late on Damon's Mound, and here he is 3 wide on it with it. You see the red cap farther out with Junior Alvarado. We got the camera on Junior, so this is going to be interesting to see. Eventually, Damon's Mound's going to pull away here at the finish line. The 4-horse, Sappy Joseph horse we talked about, ends up running second.
4, 9, 10. Rivet, a disappointing 5th. Any excuses? And wait, but I'll get back to Rivet, who is right about to strike the front here, but you're on board with Junior Alvarado and Damon's Mound
how cool is that
finding
shot?
his best drive.
Yeah, that's so cool. I love that.
Damon's Mound, and that was the surprise when Rivet didn't go on. As talented as he is, who was 5-2, but the smart money, the late money, pouring in on Damon's Mound, and for Junior Alvarado, that's what the jockey wants to see in the stretch of a graded stakes
in front
race.
Of you.
No
Sky.
horses in front of him.
Yeah, you see the grandstand off to his right, and the finish line's about, I don't know, 200 yards away at this point as you just get past the 8th pole and then the 16th pole. And yeah, it's always nice to see nothing but the finish line as he crosses over Junior Alvarado and Damon's Mound.
Junior Alvarado could be a big afternoon. He'll pilot Just Catherine in the Cotillion, Scotland in the Pennsylvania Derby. What's been the difference with Damon's Mound his last couple of starts?
I wish I knew the answer to that, Lafitte, or I would have bet on him like these guys. Whoever knew about it to bet him on 9 to 5.
Somebody was expecting it.
I would not have liked that price, but obviously somebody thought he was going to come all the way back to the form from his 2-year-old season. And yeah, why exactly it happened, I don't know, but it did happen. And all of a sudden, this is a different and new horse.
Damon's Mound. 4, 5, 10, 1 results when we come back, plus the highly decorated Cotillion favorite. Pretty Mischievous, Kentucky Oaks winner, top-ranked 3-year-old filly in the country. Victory today, and that 3-year-old filly title, all but hers.
The Bet Parks Pennsylvania Derby is brought to you by Parks Casino and Racetrack. This is how you win. And by the Pennsylvania Thoroughbred Horsemen's Association. It's fun to see them run. By the Pennsylvania Horse Racing Association, what a ride. And by the Pennsylvania Horse Breeders Association. Pennsylvania is the only place to breed and race.
Welcome back to Parks Casino and Racing. It's always sunny and perfect in the winner's circle. Damon's Mound entering the winner's circle. Junior Alvarado, you were on board with him during this Gallant Bob, and a big part of this story. Dick trainer Michelle Lovell, her first starter ever at Saratoga last summer. That was her first starter ever, that Saratoga Special, winning that race with Damon's Mound. And here in deep stretch, Damon's Mound took all the late money on the far outside, puts his field away.
Yeah, no question. I mean, they were way out in the middle of the track, but they have the assistant, right? Maggie's got the assistant trainer to the winner, Damon's Mound.
Over to Maggie.
Here with Mitch Butler, a longtime assistant to Michelle Lovell. And Mitch, Damon's Mound, he showed so much promise as a 2-year-old, Mitch, but now we're seeing it come to fruition as a 3-year-old.
Yeah, there's no question. You know, the horse coming into the race great. After the Charlestown race, we just thought this would be the logical spot, and back him up to 3/4, and he just proved what we thought he could do.
Now talk about turning him back. He is a true sprinter, right?
We think so. You know, we tried him in the Pat Day Mile, and you know, that didn't work out as well. But since we backed him up to the 7/8 and the 3/4, he's really flourished. And you know, just a great shout out to all the team back home, Michelle, Mr. and Miss Love, for giving us the opportunity. It's just been a real experience, and we're just so happy to have the colt in the barn.
Well, as you should, and you should be very proud of the job you've done. Congrats.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right, Mitch Butler, assistant to Michelle Lovell with Damon's Mound.
They had Damon's Mound primed for a primetime performance. 560. Man, this is late money, smart money, Dick.
Indeed it did, and it's been the year of the women trainer around here, right? Jenna Antonucci with the Belmont and Travers, and it's been very cool to see.
If it's 59 degrees, I'm 6'3".
There's no chance that it's 59 degrees, and congratulations, by the way, to the locals with Gordy and Knott. Lupe Preciado won the race last year, finished third with that good PA red.
Gallant Bob in the books, onward and upward for Damon's Mound. And coming up next, the first of 2 Grade 1 $1 million events. We'll have these, we'll take a look at the field very shortly for the Cotillion, but before we get to the horses, Dick, and so many storylines in this year's Cotillion, a big part of the story is who's going to actually be calling the race.
No question about it. Jessica Paquette was just hired just about a year ago, Lafitte. She'd only called a few races. Since then, she's called 1,000 more, and she's going to be the first woman ever to call a Grade 1 race, and she's going to call 2 within an hour. And here's my conversation with Jess.
I am so much more comfortable now. Now I get really excited as the gates are about to open. It doesn't feel necessarily like I'm jumping out of an airplane 10 times a day. And I really enjoyed getting to learn the horses, the jockeys, the horsemen and women here. And that's been really helpful in calling the races as well, kind of getting a sense of who's who.
Now, talking to you months ago, you were very enthusiastic about September and getting to call a Grade 1 race.
What will it be like today, calling not one, but two?
It's a huge honor to get to play a role telling the stories on the biggest day of the year here at Parks, and one of the biggest days of the year in racing in general. These are going to be some of the best 3-year-old colts and fillies in the country. Championship honors are on the line for a lot of these horses. And the fun thing all summer has been watching these horses in other races and go, oh my goodness, I might get to call that one.
Preparation-wise, what will be different about these two races than every other race that you do?
Nothing. It's a race. That has been very important to me, and I got to test drive that a little bit. Smarty Jones Day was batting practice because you really don't know how you're going to react on a bigger race until it happens. And you want to do a good job, but I want to do a good job on the bottom non-winners of 2 Lifetime as well. So the preparation is the same. You just try to rise to the occasion.
Really good stuff with Jessica. Dick, regardless of who wins today's Cotillion or Pennsylvania Derby, like history will be made this afternoon at Parks.
No question, and within like 45 minutes or so, it's going to be very cool. And then a second time within an hour.
You mentioned Jenna Antonucci, first female trainer to ever saddle a Triple Crown race winner this summer at Saratoga. Linda Rice tying Chad Brown for the training title. Very soon, Jessica Paquette become the first female track announcer to call a Grade 1 event. Starting with the Cotillion, 3-year-old fillies, mile and an eighth, $1 million purse. All eyes on number 3, Pretty Mischievous, 2-to-1 current favorite, and a Grade 1 winner towards the outside at a big price, Defining Purpose. Wow, at 19-to-1. Much more coming up on the Cotillion, but first, over to Maggie Wolfendale.
So pleased to be joined here by Tom Rooney, President and CEO of the NTRA. Now, Tom, for our audience who's not familiar with the NTRA, what does the organization do, and what does it do for the sport as a whole?
We're basically a trade association that was headquartered in Lexington. We opened an office in Washington a little over a year ago. We represent basically all the big tracks, the small tracks, the Breeders' Cup, the Jockey Club, everything associated with racing in one house to advocate on racing's behalf in Washington, D.C., so that anytime policymakers have questions, or if we're passing a law like HISA recently, it's our job to educate the policymakers as to what the racing industry wants, what it needs, and to be able to advocate on their behalf. If their constituents ask questions about, hey, what's going on, we give them the facts and tell them why what we're doing is so great.
You're just so vital to the industry, but you have special connections here to Parks. You grew up in Philly.
I did. I grew up in Northeast Philly, right down the road from here. We moved out to Villanova, at one point, but my dad actually, they honored him last year, was so gracious. He was one of the founders of Keystone Park, I think 50 years ago. So to bring my mom and dad out here last year was really special, and I appreciate Joe Wilson and everybody that works at Parks for recognizing him and giving him a little bit of fame one last time. So it was cool.
Well, Tom, thank you for your time, and thank you for everything you do. It's such a special organization, and certainly we wouldn't be where we are in this game without them, Lafitte.
Homecoming, as you might imagine, lots of important people at Parks today. Tom Rooney among them. When we come back, she doesn't run up the score, she doesn't blow away her competition. All she does is win. Pretty Mischievous, Kentucky Oaks winner, Cotillion favorite. You'll get to know her better as our coverage continues on Pennsylvania Derby Saturday from Parks Casino and Racing. Blustery afternoon in Bensalem, PA. Welcome back to Parks Casino and Racing. Regardless of the weather, so much excitement on this day every year. Pennsylvania Derby Saturday, as we hand things over to Mike Baldini.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome recording artist Kane Callis, whose recent CD, High Hopes, a collection of standards, is dedicated to his late father, Harry Callis, and the city of Philadelphia. Kane Callis performing God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Beautifully done, King Callis. Dick, that name sounds awfully familiar.
Yes, it should. His dad, Harry Callis, a broadcasting legend in this town, called the Phillies for years, and we still miss Harry, one of the all-time greats in the history of the city.
Hunch play racing fans, updated odds for the Cotillion. Right after we hear King Callis sing God Bless America, Hoosier Philly, Philly, runs in the Cotillion. She's currently check that 2-1. Hoosier Philly 5-2. There's Pretty Mischievous, who is the favorite at 2-1. The winner of the Kentucky Oaks, it's all she does. She wins. That's who she is. Pretty Mischievous, as Maggie Wolfendale explains, a top-ranked 3-year-old filly in the country.
What an amazing filly. 3 straight grade 1s, including the prestigious Kentucky Oaks.
Gambling Girl trying to catch Pretty Mischievous on the wire. Pretty Mischievous, Gambling Girl. Pretty Mischievous held on.
It's like nothing else. We've been fortunate enough to win some nice races now down through the years, but they kind of capped everything. I mean, I've probably watched the program about 5 times, I'd say. It's just, you know, it's stuff that you dream of, winning a classic. So it was a great experience, and it still remains to be, and I'm sure it's going to live a long time in our lives from here on.
Pretty, as the Walsh Barn calls her, doesn't blow the field away in her races, but she knows where to find the finish line.
They're coming down for the finish. It is Pretty Mischievous trying to hold off Darth Vader. They come on for the finish. Pretty Mischievous.
She's not great for the cardiac. But, you know, she just tends to do what's required, and at least she's been on the right side of the photos. So that's good. Hopefully she'll do the same on Saturday.
Since her last start in the test, this 3-year-old has been training well up in Saratoga. Today, she will have to handle the off-track, but her trainer thinks she can.
She did win on slop last year at Churchill, I think maybe her second run. I think she's a filly who'd probably go on anything. You know, a big day like Saturday, you know, it's not what we want to see, really. We'd like to have a nice track and make it fair on everyone, because, you know, as we all know, when it comes up sloppy, it throws some funny results, but I'm hoping she'll deal with it fine.
Accomplished, talented, classy, Dick. But yeah, we did just hear Brendan Walsh say it's not the surface he would have preferred.
No, nobody wants it. Yeah, everybody would like to all run on a fast track, that nobody's got any excuses, but Brendan was exactly right. The second career start was when she won on the slop at Churchill Downs on October 30th.
How will she handle the track? What will she do in her Parks debut? Pretty Mischievous, Cotillion favorite at 2-1. We check in with Matt.
Hey, thanks, guys. There's so much to do here in the grandstand. We're with Carl, right?
Yes, sir. Carl Payne III.
Carl, this is called the Hit 360 booth?
Yes, sir. Hit 360 PA. That's our Instagram. That's our website. This is a 360 booth. Yes, sir.
And look, there's Bruce Casella right there. So what exactly happens? That is self-explanatory. This little light goes round and round.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It makes a 360 slow motion video. We had all kinds of effects. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Put more than one person in there too, right?
I can get up to 6, 7, maybe even 8 sometimes.
Now you do it, and then how does somebody get the picture back? How do you do that?
So we send it to them via text message, airdrop, QR code, or email.
Because I see a pad right over there, and you got your pictures already.
Yes, sir. You got it.
So you do it here at the track.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you do weddings.
Do weddings. We do bar mitzvahs, birthday parties, corporate events, festivals, you name it, we do it.
Divorce parties?
Of course.
Thanks for having us, Carl.
Absolutely,
I
man.
think I would step in now and do it, but it would clip the mic, so I'm going to do it after that. Back to you guys.
He say divorce party?
I think he did.
And always count on Bruce to step in and help out as well. When we come back, how about Saudi Crown makes his Parks debut in the Pennsylvania Derby. His last start nearly defeated a champion at Saratoga on a day just like this and track just like this. Just after 5 o'clock in the East. Welcome back, Parks Casino and Racing, Bensalem, PA. Earlier this week, Dick Girardi with Bob Hutt, president of the Pennsylvania Thoroughbred Horsemen's Association, discussing why this day means so much.
It means a great deal. It's a day when the state of Pennsylvania celebrates our fantastic breeding and thoroughbred racing industry, and I'm just so happy that so many people came out today to be part of it.
And for you personally, this is your first year as president of the PTHA and the organization. What does it mean to the organization, the PTHA?
It means very, very good things. We have tried to take the PTHA in a new direction. We're starting by studying statistical data, which every successful business needs to go forward. And we think in the years to come that Parks may become the Mecca in the Mid-Atlantic region of thoroughbred racing.
And what are yours? You're looking ahead. What do you think specifically you can do to make that happen?
We see many things happening. First of all, in business, every successful business has to rely on statistical data. For example, if you go into the casino, they know more about you than you know about yourself. I don't have to tell anybody about Amazon. They started in a garage and now they have destroyed just about every mall business because they rely on data. And we've been doing this now and practicing for 9 months. And you're going to see some major changes. Instead of saying, I think, or I'm guessing, we're going to know what the public wants, and we want to cater to the racing fans. We want to get families out here again. We want children to see the majestic wonder of what it is with a thoroughbred racehorse, and that's how you grow a business.
Well, from the president of the PTHA to its executive director, please be joined now by Jeff Maddie. And Jeff, you've been a racing fan your whole life. You're a native of Philadelphia, but now in this role, for you, what does this PA Derby Day mean to this racetrack?
You know, Maggie, it means everything. It's a culmination of not only the horsemen, the track, the casino. It takes everyone to put this show on, and we just couldn't be more excited, couldn't be more proud, you know, to host this for the entire world, the racing world.
As you should be. Jeff, thank you so much. But for more, we'll check back in with Levitt.
Maggie, thanks so much. With the horses behind us, these 3-year-old fillies, a chance to see Pretty Mischievous Dick in the season she's had, winning the most prestigious race for 3-year-old fillies in the country. And from what she's already accomplished, essentially a championship caliber season.
Indeed, she has done all of that and then some.
And for the riders making their way into the paddock as well. Riders up very shortly, and Seth Joyner standing by, Philadelphia Eagle legendary linebacker, to do the honors.
Welcome to Parks Racing. Riders up.
Simple and to the point. Here's the thing, look, it's a rule. When Seth Joyner tells you to do something, you do it. That's the way it works.
Don't even think about anything else but that.
Part of those great early 90s defenses, Seth Joyner, Reggie White, late great Jerome Brown, Andre Waters, and wow, just a huge fan base here in Philadelphia. Seth Joyner, for him to call riders up. And again, like it's kind of on a time crunch, doing it very concisely.
Exactly, and Seth is one of the good guys. Everybody around here knows him. He hung around. He's in the media in the city. There's a lot of football talk. Good people.
Riders up in a post parade for this $1 million Grade 1 Cotillion 3-year-old fillies as they hit the track in Foggy Night. Great story behind her. Currently on the inside at 24-1 a big price.
Could really use a hot contested pace in here. Barn 4 is her barn, and if she's running, she's going to be running around barn 4 because that's right before the quarter pole.
Foggy Night followed by Ceiling Crusher, the California Invader. Come and catch me if you can.
Yeah, Doug O'Neill's won the PA Derby twice, including 2 years ago with Hot Rod Charlie. Now he's trying to get a Cotillion. This California-bred Lafitte, 5-4-6 with a third. She's fast. She's improving. I think she's loose on the lead.
A threat, currently 4-1. And number 4, pictured Hoosier Filly, Johnny Velasquez, seeking a first Cotillion win.
Yeah, great story here. Denise Murray, native of Philadelphia, grew up in Norristown, right out the turnpike here. Her boyfriend that is involved with Hoosier Filly. That's how the filly came in.
Philly, a cult really starting to come around.
Breakthrough win in the Monmouth Oaks by 10 lengths with Foggy Night a distant second.
Number 3, the favorite in the Godolphin Blue, Pretty Mischievous, the star of this Cotillion show.
Yeah, and she is by Into Mischief, the sire of Life is Good, and 2 Kentucky Derby winners, Authentic and Mandaloon.
Star jockey Tyler Gaffleone, followed by number 6 and Just Catherine. Solid summer at Saratoga.
Yeah, by 2018 Triple Crown winner Justified. She's improved her buyer figures in each of her last 3 starts. She is dangerous.
Defining Purpose, Grade 1 winner. She was 3rd in the Alabama.
Yeah, it's Grade 3 Indiana Oaks, and as you said, the Grade 1 Ashland in the spring, and her Damn Defining Hope won 4 Indiana-bred stakes.
A Monra, number 8, won on a wet track in Florida late May.
Second in the Iowa Oaks is a 6-5 favorite, but has not yet hit 90 on the buyer scale, and that won't do today. You're going to have to get there.
Pick it up. Needs to pick it up. Majestic Creed, sharp filly, quick, but not as quick as Ceiling Crusher.
Yeah, this is the other local hope for trainer Bobby Ann Hawthorne.
That's the field for the Grade 1 Cotillion. 3-year-old fillies, mile and an eighth, $1 million purse, post time 7 minutes. We touched on Foggy Night and her story. Danny standing by with more.
Well, 3-year-old filly Foggy Night will take on her biggest race yet in today's Grade 1 Cotillion. She has taken every step forward, including winning the prep here last month in the Catherine Sophia. Today, we'll see if she's more than a local star, and we caught up with her trainer, Butch Reed, on his spectacular filly. Today is a big day for Parks-based trainer Butch Reed and his team. His 3-year-old filly, Foggy Night, will face off against some of the top fillies in the country in today's $1 million Grade 1 Cotillion, including today's favorite, Pretty Mischievous, winner of the Grade 1 Kentucky Oaks.
Pretty Mischievous in front by 2. Gambling Girl continues to rally. Gambling Girl trying to catch Pretty Mischievous on the wire. Pretty Mischievous, Gambling Girl. Pretty Mischievous held on.
That is coming up the race of the year for 3-year-old fillies. Not going to be an easy task.
Foggy Night is coming off an impressive win in the prep for the Cotillion, the Catherine Sophia. This 3-year-old seems ready for the challenge.
These 2 fillies slugging it out, and it is Foggy Night. Foggy Night says, not on my home track today.
She's really come a long way in a very short time. We were high on her from the beginning, and she's coming along. As the distance has stretched out, she's really come to the fore. And we're excited to be able to do it right here at home in front of the home crowd and just be able to run right out of her stall. I think that's a big advantage for her. She's, she has an amazing, quirky personality, very alert, loves to stand up in the front of the stall and come. And of course, my wife, Ginny, is spoiling her with the cookies, but she's got a very personable horse. We like her a lot.
Foggy Night was purchased for just $20,000 last year at the April Ocala Breeder Sale by 94-year-old Bill Poppy Gotwells. His family owns the Brookledge Horse Van Company. Reed explained after the Catherine Sophia win how it all happened.
Well, he felt a little guilty about making so much money off the horse racing industry and not really investing anything. He went down to the sale by himself without any bloodstock agents or out any trainers and saw one he liked and picked her out, and she turned out to be Foggy Night. So it's a great story. He's 94 years old, I believe.
Reed and his team knows what to look for when it comes to fillies. Past top fillies in his care include Vequis and Morning Matcha, who finished 2nd last year in this very race.
They have to be athletes, and that's exactly what this filly is. She's Michael Jordan in the Equine set. She's long, tall, lanky filly with a nice balanced stride on her, and that's the main thing. They have to look like athletes.
Foggy Night has been training so well that Reed was thinking about running in today's Bet Parks Pennsylvania Derby. She's that good. What a day it would be if she can pull off the upset.
Oh, that would be fantastic. We got close last year with Morning Matcha, and left a little bitter taste in our mouth, but we'd really like to get the job done. But it's going to be a tough road to go, but we're going to give it our best try.
The story of her owner, Dick. Poppy Gotwells, 94 years old, without any assistance or a bloodstock agent, just walks, strolls right into his sale, and buys her.
Right, he buys his first horse for 20 grand, Lafitte, and she's closing on 450,000 and counting, and she's got a chance to win 600,000 today.
Poppy should be a bloodstock agent.
Indeed.
Foggy Night, 25-1, right back to Maggie.
Oh, please be joined by Seth Joyner here. I'm actually getting to educate Seth a little bit here. It's first time at a racetrack. You don't often say that to a professional athlete like yourself. But Seth, thank you for being here. Furthermore, you got up close and personal with our favorite, Pretty Mischievous.
Yeah, she kind of came around the turn here, and I was watching her, and she went into a kick. And I mean, the guy that was standing behind her, he was pretty darn close to getting kicked. So I think I might go put a couple of chips on number 3 because she's a little feisty.
That's a good choice. But let's talk about what you know. And you have so many shows going on with the NFL, with football, Monday Night Football for the Eagles. What do you think?
Well, it's going to be a big game because there's been a lot of talk about how slow the team has started. You would think that the team is 0-2 rather than 2-0. They haven't played, up to the level that everybody would like to see them play up to. But, they've had 10, 11 days off in between the Thursday night game and the Monday night game. So they're going to have some time to kind of try to rectify some things. So it'll be a big game because not only do everyone want to see the team move in a positive direction, but they're facing another top-notch defensive-minded coach again this week. And they're going to try to implement some of the things that you've seen over the first 2 weeks to try to slow Jalen Hurts down. So, the chess match continues.
Love it. Seth, thank you so much. Great job with Riders Up as we're nearing post time here for this Cotillion, Lafitte.
The bar is high. 2-0, and it's like, what's wrong with the Eagles?
Welcome to Philadelphia, Lafitte.
We'll see him take on Tampa Bay, one of 2 games, Monday Night Football. Pretty Mischievous, and yes, Seth Joy, look, he's got to keep his head on a swivel, just like when he was playing linebacker, head on a swivel in the paddock.
Yeah, the Philly is Pretty Mischievous now down to 8-5 Lafitte. As we expected, at some point you knew the big money was going to come in, and we saw it come in, obviously, on the eventual favorite in the Gallant Bob. I would suspect this 8-5 could end up even lower, 6-5, even possibly even money, because she's got the record. I mean, as you pointed out, she doesn't win by much, but she's won her last 3 by total of half a length, right? She just finds a way to win races.
Like the Chris Carter of thoroughbred racing.
That's
all
right.
he did, catch touchdowns. All she does, wins races. Pretty Mischievous, the favorite. Not the only Grade 1 winner in the field. Divining Purpose, though, somewhat cold on the board at 9-1. There she is.
Yeah, her good races give her a chance. She runs one good one, one bad one. You're not quite sure what you're going to get. If she gets a good one, she's got a chance. And I'm a big Brian Hernandez fan. Every time I watch him ride Lafitte, the one thing I know, he's always in the right place at the right time in the race.
Defining Purpose, Brian Hernandez. See where he places her early. Ceiling Crusher. I think we know where she's going to be early on. Currently 7-2, the California Invader.
If she's not 2 lengths in front coming out of the first turn, I'm not going to be happy, and Doug O'Neill's not going to be happy. I think she's California speed. I think she's going to the front.
Come and catch me if you can. Ceiling Crusher. You're on board with Pretty Mischievous. Top-ranked 3-year-old filly in the country, standing in the gate. Godolphin filly seeking a 4th consecutive Grade 1 victory. Pretty Mischievous. Final check of the tote board reading 8-5, and a historic moment about to take place. Jessica Paquette, track announcer, about to become the first female track announcer to ever call a Grade 1 race. It is post time for the Grade 1 Cotillion, live from Parks.
Followed by Amonra and Hoosier Philly. And now we're just waiting on Majestic Creed. And now they're all in. Off and racing in the Grade 1 Cotillion. A perfect start for this field of 9 fillies, and Ceiling Crusher breaks on top. She goes right to the lead, and she's going to be the one that shows them the way into the first turn. Hoosier Philly to her outside, Defining Purpose being fanned a bit wide. Majestic Creed, she's up with the pace today. Then back to Amonra, followed by Pretty Mischievous in on the rail. Foggy Night right to her outside, a Cult, and Just Catherine is the early trailer. Ceiling Crusher, she has a length over Long Shot. Majestic Creed through an opening quarter, 23-1. Ceiling Crusher, Majestic Creed, Hoosier Philly, she's in third. She's about 3 lengths off the front running Ceiling Crusher. Then it's back to Defining Purpose, Amonra, Foggy Night holding her position at the rail. Right in between horses, Pretty Mischievous, then Just Catherine, followed by a Cult. And as they make their way down the backstretch, splashing along, Ceiling Crusher, maintaining that advantage, Majestic Creed, keeping her company still just a length off of her. Then it's Hoosier Philly. Foggy Nights moved up to put herself right in the mix and moving right with her. Pretty Mischievous on the outside, Defining Purpose getting in gear, the half 47-3. Ceiling Crusher has led every step of the way. Hoosier Philly has gotten the cue from John Velasquez. She's now a length off of the leader. Also moving on the outside, Defining Purpose, Pretty Mischievous making her run from off the pace. A Cult starting to get in gear as they make their way through the turn. Less than a quarter mile left to go in the Cotillion. Ceiling Crusher has led every step of the way. Hoosier Philly's all out in second. Pretty Mischievous set down for the drive. She's making up ground, but they're going to have to reel in Ceiling Crusher. Ceiling Crusher, Pretty Mischievous. Here comes a Cult from the outside. There's a 16th left to go. It is Ceiling Crusher, Pretty Mischievous on the outside. A Cult, a thrilling finish. Ceiling Crusher breaks through in the Cotillion Stakes. Pretty Mischievous second, followed by a Cult. Hoosier Philly fourth.
Driving finish. Thrilling indeed in the Cotillion, and Ceiling Crusher, the California Invader, able to turn back Pretty Mischievous in the Cotillion. Wow.
Lafitte, California's speed is dangerous wherever it goes. Does not matter. You knew Ceiling Crusher was getting to the front. She got there pretty easily. 47-3 to the half, 12-4. Pretty Mischievous ran her heart out. She ran a winning race. She just didn't win. You see the two in front, Ceiling Crusher with Edwin Maldonado, who I am a huge fan of every time I watch him. To me, Pretty Mischievous lost nothing in defeat. She was terrific second and a good third for a Cult for Chad Brown. So three really good three-year-old fillies. Doug O'Neill was 100% right. He was very confident. And if you were as confident as I was, you got 3-1.
A grade 1 win for jockey Edwin Maldonado. Fired up. You saw the fist pump at the wire. Ceiling Crusher established that cushion. Another look here at the head-on. Maldonado going left-handed, and for the favorite, Pretty Mischievous, the Kentucky Oaks winner, calling on all her class, doggedly determined, relentless run, and just couldn't reel in Ceiling Crusher.
And I love what Maldonado did in the stretch there. He brought his filly out so she could see the oncoming Pretty Mischievous. You could see how game she was, because it looked like for a minute Pretty Mischievous might get there, but Ceiling Crusher had enough left to get home.
You got 3-1, Dick.
Thank you.
Ceiling Crusher. For trainer Doug O'Neill, two-time Kentucky Derby winning trainer Doug O'Neill, Edwin Maldonado, a grade 1 win in the Cotillion. Just too much speed, too much Ceiling Crusher in the Cotillion. Results, reaction as our coverage continues from Parks Casino and Racing on Pennsylvania Derby Saturday. Welcome back. You're looking at a grade 1 winner, Ceiling Crusher. Wire to wire, Edwin Maldonado. You see the winning connections. Far left, Doug O'Neill, two-time Kentucky Derby winning trainer. Now a Cotillion winning trainer. And for the favorite, Pretty Mischievous. You're on board, you're in the cockpit, Tyler Gaffleone, and she's trying to do everything she can, eyeing Ceiling Crusher to her inside. And these they dig deep. The closer they are, the more competitive they get.
Yeah, the 16th pole is about 110 yards away, and that's what the first shot that we saw there, and he just kept getting closer and closer, but could never quite get there.
We're checking with Maggie.
Guys, I got to catch up with Tyler Gaffleone aboard second place and runner-up as the favorite, Pretty Mischievous. And he said, look, she was not handling the racetrack at all in that first quarter of a mile. When he got to the backside, he said that she gave him some, kind of got a hold of the track again. But in hindsight, he said this might be one of her best efforts ever because she tried so hard over a surface she clearly did not handle, Lafitte.
You know, we heard it from Brendan Walsh earlier, and he said, even though she has won on a wet track, but that this isn't what they wanted going in, and for her to run that well on a track that she wasn't handling and calling on all her class late.
And the circumstances of the race were not in her favor when you had a real talented filly like Ceiling Crusher out there by herself. And you could see, Lafitte, each of her races was getting better and better. Doug had her nothing but California breds, and he said, you know what, we're going to try a grade 3. He said, hey, I like what I saw. We're coming east. And now Doug has his 2 PA Derbies, and he's got himself a Cotillion too.
So she goes wire to wire. As for Pretty Mischievous, as we mentioned, top-ranked 3-year-old filly in the country. Does this loss do anything in terms of her chase for a 3-year-old filly filly championship.
Not to me, it doesn't look beat. To me, the only way she loses the 3-year-old filly championship is some 3-year-old filly who's got a record of some sort goes to Santa Anita and wins the Breeders' Cup Distaff against all the olders. I don't know that that will happen. Heck, she might win it. Pretty Mischievous could go out there and do it herself. I'm not sure what Brendan's plans are. But yeah, to me, she's the 3-year-old filly champ. She's the leader in the clubhouse by a lot.
Hey, we've seen that before. Princess of Silmar.
Exactly.
About a decade ago, she won the Kentucky Oaks. She won the Alabama, the Coaching Club American Oaks. But there was a mare by the name of Beholder out west, a filly who won the Breeders' Cup Distaff and was crowned champion. For now, we celebrate this win in the Cotillion. Ceiling Crusher, trained by Doug O'Neill, standing by with Maggie.
Yeah, pleased to be joined here by Doug. And Doug, we had said on the broadcast that you just seem so confident in Ceiling Crusher coming into this Cotillion. Why?
Well, she gives you a lot of confidence. But first, I got to thank Louis Mendez and John Brocklebank. I mean, they basically put us on third base here, you know, so she was ready to go when we bought her. And so thank those guys for developing such a great filly. And Leandro Mora, my main guy back home who didn't make the trip. So, yeah, it's just been a great crew. But she's such a wonderful filly. She's got speed and stamina and class. That's a great combination.
How do you know she's a sprinter? She's quick going the sprint distances. How do you know when a horse is going to be able to stretch that speed out like she has?
Well, you know from horses, right? She's got the look, right? She's tall, she's long, she covers a lot of ground. She always gallops out with tons of energy, and Edwin just did a wonderful job to save just what he needed to get it done today. But I don't know how much farther than a mile 16 she wants to go, but in the morning she'll run all day.
Well, she's a classy Calbred. Congratulations here, Doug.
Thank you so much.
All right, Ceiling Crusher Calbred in the Grade 1 Cotillion, guys.
And that California speed, really exciting to see what she does moving forward.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen the last of her because she's got that one element that you can't duplicate. It's true in sports, true in horse racing, true everywhere. Speed kills.
The Cotillion in the books, $1 million race down, 1 to go. The Pennsylvania Derby coming up post time in about 38 minutes. But first, we're checking with Matt.
Hey, thanks, guys. So we're here in the grandstand, and we're with Donnell, right?
Yep, I'm here with the Pennsylvania Horse Racing Association.
Now, this guy behind you is doing a virtual ride. Tell us about this, Donnell.
So you come, you sign our waiver, you get on the horse, it moves around, you put on these fun goggles, and you're going to see what a jockey sees on a daily basis, so you get to be in the horse race.
Can you, like, win this race? Is there a way that you can, like, take out a whip and hit the horse and you know, you're going to win this race? Or is there a way you can lose it, too?
I mean, you can pump your body and try to drive on the horse, but it is pre-recorded footage, so you might win, you might lose. You don't know until you're in the race.
I've never seen a jockey chew gum before like this guy over here.
He's having a good old time.
So it's a mile and a half, maybe?
Yeah, it's about a 2-minute ride. It's a good time. Everyone that does it loves it, so if you're here at Parks Racing, you need to come try it.
How often have you tried this, Donnell?
I've done it a few times, and we actually have one for harness racing, too, so this is a fun thing that we take everywhere on the road with us.
Can I try it?
Yeah.
All right, you're up. It's my turn. I'm kidding. Did you win? How'd you do?
I think I won.
You did? Okay, sure. You can say anything you want.
Yeah,
I won.
He's a winner.
Yeah. Thank you, Donnell.
You're welcome.
And back to you guys.
All you, Dick. I get motion sickness from that, man. Pennsylvania Derby. Grade 1 3-year-olds. Here's the field. Surprise, surprise, or not so much. Saudi Crown, he was the second choice on the morning line. Look at that even money early on. The morning line favorite overlaid early at 4.
Yeah, it was 7-2 was the line. I said, can I get 7-5? It doesn't look like it.
These 3-year-olds, it's been a wild season. 3 different Triple Crown race winners in the Derby, Preakness, and Belmont Stakes. A wide open chase for this 3-year-old championship. Arcangelo, who won the Travers, he is the current leader in the clubhouse, and we'll see what happens in the Pennsylvania Derby with all eyes on Saudi Crown, even money in the wagering. Meantime, earlier today, despite the downpour, there was one race on grass, a Grade 3 Turf Monster, naturally on a yielding turf course. The Turf Monster earlier today, Jessica Cahet with the call.
Off and racing. Bit of a slow start for Patriarch Artie, who broke towards the back. Roses for Deborah, quick out of the gate, but she has company. Nobody Listens quickest of all, followed by Smooth B. Roses for Deborah settling into second. Then it's All That Magic. Determined Kingdom securing his spot in fifth. Just Jeremy, 5 Dreams. Then back to Alexis S. Patriarch Artie, and at the back is Surprise Boss. Nobody Listens doing the heavy lifting out front, and he has pressure right to the outside. Smooth B, the opening quarter, 23-4 as they make their way through the turn. Nobody Listens. Smooth B, the Pennsylvania bred, bearing down on his outside. Then it's All That Magic. Roses for Deborah, looking for a little bit of room in on the rail. Determined Kingdom, Five Dreams, Just Jeremy. At the top of the stretch, Nobody Listens says, come and catch me if you can. On the outside, Smooth B is game today. Roses for Deborah, the filly needs to do a little bit better. Nobody Listens, the half, 48-2. There's about a 16th left to go. Nobody Listens. It's going to be loud and clear. Nobody Listens gets the win in the Turf Monster, followed by Smooth B, Roses for Deborah. Final time.
Loud and clear is right, Jessica. Nobody Listens, defeating Roses for Deborah, among others, in the Turf Monster.
Indiana bred from Horseshoe, Indiana, had won the Parks Dash here earlier, came back to Parks again to get a graded stakes win. 26 lifetime starts for this horse, Lafitte. 14 wins, 7 seconds. Horse knows how to get to the winner's circle.
Machine, 820. Nobody Listens over Smooth B. Roses for Deborah. Razor Sharp coming in. Maybe it was that soft turf course having to settle for third on this afternoon. Nobody Listens in the Turf Monster. Pennsylvania Derby in 34 minutes. The morning line favorite, not the current favorite, Reincarnate. Up and down season, flashes of promise, a disappointment on the big stage. Now, another shot at a Grade 1 victory in the Pennsylvania Derby. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Parks Casino and Racing, Bensalem, PA, getting closer and closer to the Bet Parks Grade 1 Pennsylvania Derby. But first, we see Reincarnate, morning line favorite, current second choice in from California. Will there be a California sweep in the Grade 1 events? We'll find out. But first, we check it with Danny.
Well, I'm pleased to be joined by Brian Safrantello from our Pennsylvania Horse Breeders Association. And Brian, we love our PA breds. We have a very strong program here. Tell us about the PA bred, PA sired stakes that ran earlier, and why our breeding program is so strong here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Yep, I just thank all of the breeders in PA for the time that they put into the program. We had the second leg of our PA Sired Series today. The PA Sired Series runs in 3 legs this year. We had the first one on PA Day at the races today and then in December, and it's worth almost $1 million. So I think that's one of the catalysts that have people breeding, and the numbers are up a little bit this year, which is fantastic. And we had a great day today. We had 4 PA bred stakes, and we had Nimitz class won the Parks Mile today, so it was a fantastic day. And we dodged a bullet with the storm, which was great.
Great to see our local horses getting the win here. Back to you guys.
Strength of Pennsylvania breeding. Danny, thanks so much. Favorite for the Pennsylvania Derby on his way over. Saudi Crown, lightning fast and hard to catch. See what he does in the Pennsylvania Derby. Much more on him, but first we check back in with Matt.
Thank you, guys. So much to do here in the grandstand on Derby Day. In fact, we're at the face painting from noon to 5. This is Teresa. Hi, Teresa.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. How's the day so far with face painting?
Really fun. It's nice. Even though we're indoors, we're having a great time.
Now, this is Niger over here. And do you know what you're going to get painted, or do you want something specific?
Yeah, I want something specific.
How about like a horse?
Yes.
Okay, can you do a horse?
Yes, I can.
Can you do Smarty Jones?
Of course.
I would think unicorns would be big too.
Yeah, they're fun with lots of glitter and lots of color.
So what's the most thing that you're painting today on the kids?
For girls, unicorns, and for the boys, fillies, P.
Oh, yeah, there you go. You gotta love the fillies. How about Barbie? That's big this year.
We haven't done a lot of Barbie.
Maybe I'll get a Barbie on one side and a horse on the other side.
That sounds perfect.
A unicorn horse.
That sounds great.
How long you been doing this, Teresa?
20-some years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm taking it you're a pretty good artist.
I hope so. I'm trying. I'm doing my best.
Niger, you ready? All right, Niger, Teresa, let's get going.
All right, ready?
The face painting. This goes on from noon until 5 right here up in the grandstand. Oh, here you go. Back to you guys.
Not getting the Barbie face paint today, Dick. No matter how much you twist my arm. He's gray, he's fast, proven on a wet track. Saudi Crown, the one to catch. On paper, maybe the one to beat in the 43rd Grade 1 Bet Parks Pennsylvania Derby. On that wet Sloppy track. Today's Grade 1 Pennsylvania Derby will take place in 25 minutes. Not the first Pennsylvania Derby we've seen on a wet track, Dick. One of the most famous, the '86 Pennsylvania Derby. Where's Broadbrush on the far outside going?
That is Broadbrush, and if there weren't for two people standing there waving at him, Angel Cordero was right and told me he would have jumped off, but he didn't. Wait a second, Lafitte. He's last, or almost last. That's him coming back. He can't win, can he?
No way.
He can't. It's impossible. He's going to win by more than a length at the wire. The amazing Broadbrush. It's the most famous race in the history of this racetrack, which turns 50 years old next year.
How much farther did he run than everybody else?
I don't know, a couple hundred yards minimum, and he came to a stop.
Angel Cordero didn't hit the eject button. Broadbrush. Saudi Crown here is even money. Horses on their way over. We check in with Danny.
Well, Turning for Home is our on-track racehorse retirement program that assists so many of our beloved equine athletes into a safe retirement. Take a look into what makes Turning for Home so valuable. One of the most important Pennsylvania Thoroughbred Horseman Association's programs is Turning for Home. This year marks 15 years of providing a safe second career for our amazing equine athletes.
Oh, it's been a fantastic 15 years. I've been here for the last 10 of it, and we've helped so many horses, and we couldn't do all of it without, you know, the power of the PTHA and just a group effort by all the owners and the trainers, and we've helped so many horses.
This program is unbelievable. It means everything to me and all the other riders here, because everything these horses do for us, the community, my kids, their friends, everybody wants to come see the horses, and everything that they put on the line for us. That way we can enjoy life, take care of them, for them to give back to them horses. That way they can have a good afterlife.
Our retired racehorses show they are versatile in various disciplines, from English to Western and everything in between. Our racehorses are taught so much here on the track. They are poised for success. They can do it all.
Without the horses, we have nothing. And you know, I've been fortunate enough to have a couple of my horses retire and go on and do really, really well in the show world. So that's exciting. It's fun, you know, to pack up and go watch a horse one day, do something different.
I put probably a dozen horses in, and I follow all of them, and they all excelled at new careers because they had that chance through Turning for Home.
Turning for Home has impacted over 4,000 horses in 15 years, an accomplishment our horsemen are very proud of. Well, we are so incredibly proud of our Turning for Home program. It's on track here at Parks Racing, and it's been so valuable for our horsemen to be able to get to see their horses go into successful second careers. Back to you guys on set.
Really good stuff, Danny. Such an important cause. Thoroughbred aftercare, Turning for Home, right there at the forefront. And right there is the Cotillion Stakes winner. It's Saratoga, Scotland. Kind of a game-time decision. Hall of Famer Bill Mott last minute deciding to enter. Inspires confidence, doesn't it? Scotland, contender in the Pennsylvania Derby.
Here comes Taba, who's looming up on the outside, and Taba has taken the lead. It's Taba in simplification out in the center of the racetrack. Zandon from way out of it for a final furlong. Taba's got the front end, but here comes Zandon, who's rolling late. A 16th to go. It's Taba in the center of the racetrack, but Taba is drawing away, and Taba with Mike Smith, they win the Bet Parks Pennsylvania Derby. Zandon up for second, then a photo.
He was good. Seen a season ago, much nicer day. Impressive winner Taba, one of 4 Pennsylvania Derby winners, Dick, trained by Bob Baffert.
He's trained for 5 in the last 9 years, but really, at Lafitte, it's 5 in the last 7, because he wasn't in it in 2 of those years. When Bob shows up, he's dangerous, and he's dangerous again with Reincarnate, the 11.
The one for the thumb. That's what Baffert is hoping for this afternoon. He has sent Reincarnate from California, 2-1 morning line favorite. Now second choice at 7-2. Look, he has the ability. We just haven't seen it on the big stage. Has his time to shine finally arrived? Reincarnate is a horse on the rise. Other than this year's Kentucky Derby, he's been in the money 8 times. And early on, trainer Bob Baffert thought turf would be his liking. But his first 2 starts were both second-place finishes. So how about dirt? After a couple of wins, his breakthrough victory came last January in the Grade 3 Sham Stakes.
Newgate on the outside, and a resilient Reincarnate trying to fend him off. Reincarnate, Newgate, National Treasure, Reincarnate, and Juan Hernandez to take the Sham.
The win proved he belonged on the Kentucky Derby trail. But there would be disappointment with a 13th place finish in the run for the Roses. A 2-month break proved to be the right move for Reincarnate. Next up, the Los Alamitos Derby.
But Reincarnate has come back to life on his return to California.
Now he tries the big boys again in today's Grade 1 $1 million Bet Parks Pennsylvania Derby, a race that Bob Baffert has won 4 out of the last 8 years. Will he make it 5 of 9? Reincarnate says he's ready.
We bring the type of horse you need to bring here for this track. Horses seem to run well here. You know, you want a horse that's probably a horse placed forwardly in the race. And this horse has traveled. He handles traveling. That shouldn't be a problem for him. He's a big, burly horse, and it's going to be up to Juan Hernandez to get a trip for him.
Time seems to be the secret to his success. It has been a couple of months since his last race in Southern California.
He's had a little time to freshen up after the race at Los Alamitos, and you know, he ran lights out there, and we look for him to run the same way here. He likes to run fresh. He's not camera shy.
After a couple of months of training, Reincarnate is getting bigger, getting stronger every day. His connections are hoping that will make all the difference in today's Grade 1 race. We've seen it time and time again. 3-year-olds that flourish. Late for Bob Baffert, Dick. Arrowgate, West Coast. Nobody's saying Reincarnate is Arrowgate, but you get the picture.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like he only wins the Derby and then in the Triple Crown. He can have horses come on later in the year, and Reincarnate may be one of those horses.
Reincarnate for Bob Baffert, seeking a 5th win in the Pennsylvania Derby, but that colt is favored in Saudi Crown. Even money, very quick, trained by Brad Cox. His last start, locking up with the likes of Forte in a field of 5 on a wet track there, Saudi Crown, trying to gut this one out.
Right, he's been on the lead from the start, and that's a 2-year-old champ. Forte in between horses there with Irad Ortiz, Angel of Empire, the Pennsylvania bred, 3 deep out there. And it looks for all the world like Saudi Crown is going to hold on, but here comes Forte and Irad, who has a way to find a way to win races at Saratoga, and he just gets up on the last jump. The 2-year-old champ beats Saudi Crown. And I would say this, if Saudi Crown had won that race, he wouldn't be even money. He'd probably be 3 to 5. But even money from the start. Everybody knows how good this horse is.
It was a rough and tumble edition of the Jim Dandy, showing a lot of moxie, Saudi Crown, and at the time, there was speculation that we would see him in the Travers. Brad Cox, going back to June, we're saying no, the Pennsylvania Derby is our goal later on, late summer, or on this first day.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Saudi
That's
Crown.
why Brad Cox is as good as he is. He thought about the Smarty Jones, and all of a sudden that race came up not so tough. So he said, let's go there. And here's Scotland, the 5, who went wire to wire in the Curlin, and then set the pace in the Travers, but just wasn't quite good enough. Here's Scotland on the lead in the Curlin. And I actually picked him at the Travers because I knew he was going to clear the field. I don't know whether it was the competition or the distance or whatever, but just not quite good enough for that group. But he was good enough on this day. It's going to be interesting. I think the run to the first turn is going to be the race within the race. And you showed this graphic earlier, but we talk about legendary trainers in the PA Derby.
Todd Pletcher, Steve Asmussen, Bob Baffert, Bill Mott. You had the stats earlier.
1.5 billion when you add them all up with a B, and they have won 25,000 races among them. And as you can see, 7 versions of the Pennsylvania Derby.
Lending perspective to the prestige of this event and how much it's grown over the
That's
years.
one of the many cool things about this is the guys that you see on TV all year long, they're here and everybody gets to come out and see them in the flesh.
The star trainers, the star power. But once in a while, we'll see an upset, right?
Indeed, it will happen.
Il Miracolo outsider at 25 to 1. Look, he does have the home court advantage in terms of a win over the track in the local prep. The Smarty Jones, even if he really starts drifting and wandering late.
Yeah, he's out past the crown of the track here at the end. I actually said to Jess, our track announcer, I said, could you see him at the end? I was worried that he'd be underneath the announcer's booth. Does win that day with Luis Saez, unfortunately, who got hurt the very next day up at Saratoga with a collarbone and a wrist, and is going to be ridden today by Michael Sanchez, who's the leading rider here at Parks. He's got 106 wins and counting on the season.
He's doing his best broad brush impersonation there, Il Miracolo. But here's the thing, he's the most experienced in the field, 13 starts, and yet making that kind of mistake.
Yeah, it was fascinating. He was a horse that ran in all the big prep races in Florida, and you thought he would have gotten discouraged, but he's another horse who's gotten better as the season's gotten longer.
Maggie, what are these 3-year-olds showing you?
Well, Lafitte, I'm kind of interested in a 3-year-old who has beaten older horses twice, which isn't easy to do. The horses, when they're older, they're developed more, they're more mature physically and mentally. But number 4 in here, Magic Tap, in both of his wins, beat older horses. And this guy looks sensational here for trainer Steve Asmussen, as he's so well muscled. He looks so much like his sire, the prolific Tappet, but he's really settled. He's taking everything in, but tactically, he's a horse that's going to be sitting right off the heels or right off the hip of your projected early pace setter and likely favorite in Saudi Crown. So I think that puts him in a perfect position to be the first one to pounce, and he certainly looks the part in the prelims, guys.
Late developing, improving. Your thoughts on Magic Tap?
Look, I think he is dangerous. I think Steve Asmussen, he's another guy who can develop these horses. I mean, if you think about Gun Runner, he actually ran in this race and he was second. Of course, he had the horse of the year the following year. And as Maggie just mentioned, this is a son of Tappet, a rather good sire, including the sire of Flightline last year. So yeah, I think this horse is, if you're looking for an upsetter at 8 to 1, I think this is your best play. I mean, I like Saudi Crown. We'll get to that in a minute, but I think this horse is getting better.
How significant is it? We'll get back to that he has defeated older horses, but the opportunity and a big part of the Reincarnate story is that jockey right there in Juan Hernandez. You see Baffert, you think, oh, Mike Smith must be riding, right? Maybe a Flavian Pratt will be riding. Johnny Velasquez. No, it's Juan Hernandez in his first ever ride ever here at Parks.
So since Flavian Pratt left Southern California for the most part to head east, Juan Hernandez has been the man at Santa Anita and Del Mar. He's won the meets out there, and he is a very talented jockey.
And very shortly, he's going to be told to get a leg up and riders up as we
welcome to the $1 million Pennsylvania Derby. Riders up.
Short and sweet.
Short and
right
sweet.
To the
That's
point.
amazing.
Keith Jones, first year as president of hockey operations for the Philadelphia Flyers.
Horse player, horse owner, loves the racetrack, and Keith's one of the good guys around town.
You did emphasize in our conversation yesterday, a horse player.
I've hung out with Keith at the track more than a few times.
He likes to fire. The command for riders up, and the jockeys momentarily they'll exit this indoor saddling area in a post parade for the Grade 1 Pennsylvania Derby. This sloppy track, Dick, we've seen 11 races on the main track. Have you noticed any tendencies one way or another, favoring speed, favoring closer, inside, outside? What have you noticed?
You want to be either near the front or preferably in front. I think its speed is definitely held. Look, typically on a sloppy track, you don't want to be behind and take all that kickback anyway. This track is no different. You see Saudi Crown. I mean, he came on the board at even money, and absolutely nothing has changed. Reincarnate second choice at 3.5.
Any surprises in the wagering with 10 minutes to go?
Not really. I think the crowd has it essentially correct. The long shots should be the long shots. Il Miracolo maybe is a little longer than I would have thought at 25.
Post parade Grade 1 Bet Parks Pennsylvania Derby, modern era to the inside, and trainer Uriah St. Louis, he has shocked us in the past.
He has indeed. When Discreet Lover won the Jockey Club Gold Cup 5 years ago, I said that's like climbing the Appalachians. If he wins this one, it's Mount Everest of horse racing.
Number 2, Dream Like, first of 2 by the mighty stallion Gun Runner.
Yeah, and Gun Runner, we said, just finished second in this race back several years ago, and he was the sire of the winner of the Derby and the Cotillion on this card last year.
Saudi Crown even money Pennsylvania Derby favorite.
There's no reason he shouldn't be the favorite. Again, if he had won those 2 races instead of losing by 2 noses, he might be up for the 3-year-old championship. This is a talented horse who's getting better with each start.
Aforementioned Magic Tap. Maggie liked what she saw.
Yeah, and whenever Maggie speaks, listen. And another offspring of Tappet, Frosted, won the 2015 PA Derby right here.
Number 5, Scotland, Curlin winner, spun his wheels in the mud in the Travers.
And Bill Mott trying for his 3rd Pennsylvania Derby win, and the son of Good Magic, who was the 2017 2-year-old champ and the sire of this year's Kentucky Derby winner, Mage.
He's 6-1. Daydreaming Boy is 60-1.
Yeah, 3rd behind Il Miracolo for local trainer Lou Linder, and only 2 horses ever stabled at Parks have won this race. Devil's Honor in '96 for Walter Reese and Parks legend Tony Black, and way back in the day, The Last Crusade for Pam Shables.
Saw Tony Black about an hour and a half ago.
He's the greatest.
Number 7, West Coast Cowboy here should be sitting McPack. His trainer knows all too well how to win this race.
Yeah, 30-1 Math Wizard, owned by John Finelli. You just saw an ad for John's car dealership over in Turnersville a few minutes ago, but yeah, never forget Math Wizard at 30-1.
Gilmore, Brendan Walsh just watched Pretty Mischievous run 2nd in the Grade 1 Cotillion. There is Krupe, currently 25-1. That's a big price on Krupe.
Yeah, and a son of 2-time Horse of the Year Curlin, who's Cody's Wish and Elite Power, both won Breeders' Cup races just last year.
Long shots side by side. Il Miracola, there he is. Michael Sanchez, no, that is Reincarnate. And here for trainer Bob Baffert again, looking for a 5th win in the Pennsylvania Derby. First ride at Parks, Juan Hernandez.
And how about this? Bob is not here today, but he is in Texas, believe it or not, with his wife Jill at their son Bodie's parents' day. How did Bodie get into college?
Wonder if he took the Grade 1 couch with him to watch this Grade 1 Pennsylvania Derby. We check in with Maggie.
Here with trainer Brad Cox, sending out Saudi Crown in here. And Brad, you said after the Dwyer that this race, the PA Derby, was the goal. Tell us how he's doing and how you're hoping things play out on the track today.
He's training really well. I mean, obviously we need to break sharp, I think, and establish some forward position. He doesn't necessarily have to be on the lead, but I think forwardly placed. We'll see. It's up to him Florent where he goes into the first turn, but he's doing great. He really is.
Brad, thank you for your time. Best of luck.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, Brad Cox, Saudi Crown favorite, Lafitte.
Top class trainer Brad Cox has Saudi Crown, the even money favorite. Says he doesn't have to be in front on paper. He does look like the one to catch. And there he is, the gray in the slot. Saudi Crown, the favorite, the 43rd running of the Grade 1 Pennsylvania Derby. Next from Parks Casino and Racing. Gearing up for Parks' signature event, the Grade 1 Pennsylvania Derby. 4 minutes out, the updated odds with Saudi Crown even money favorite. And Dick, you and I are not the most important people on the set any
No,
longer.
we're not. We have the new president of hockey operations, my old good friend Keith Jones. Keith, always patient Philly fans. What can they expect from the Flyers this year? You know how patient
they can expect
are.
a hard working team, no question about that. A young team, like a lot of people in horse racing, as they bring up their young horses. You got to have some patience, but we're excited about it.
Now, I've spent time with you at the track. We've hung out. You've owned horses. I know you like to bet on horses. What do you like about the sport?
I love everything about the sport, and I love being here at Parks. I spent a lot of time here, going back to the days when John Scanlon was training here. He was my good buddy, and would come and watch the horses train in the morning. Miss John being around, but I've spent a lot of time here. Tony Dutrow was here, spent time with him. Chuck Zachney, of course, I still own horses with him. Butch Reed has trained for us. John Service has trained for us. So a lot of ties to Philadelphia racing.
As for this Pennsylvania Derby, who have you zeroed in on? If you're handicapping, who winds up in the winner's circle?
I got to be honest, Lafitte. I talked to our buddy Eddie Olchuk, and he told me Reincarnate is the horse for him. So I'm going to go with him. I have not been spending a lot of time reading the racing form lately, but it felt good to have it in my hands today.
Man, does he love his hockey and horses as well. Pucks and ponies, as he always says. 7-2 Reincarnate, who is training up a storm. So the horses continue to warm up here. Dick, your thoughts again on Magic Tap going in. And for Tyler Gaffney, on kind of a frustrating afternoon riding the likes of Rivet and Gunite, finishing second on Pretty Mischievous just about half an hour ago, trying to salvage the day in the day's marquee event.
Yeah, 7-1 of all the horses in the race. If you're looking for some kind of a price that you have a chance, I think Magic Tap is your horse. It's not the horse I like. I like the favorite, and I have all my money. And when I'm saying all my money, Keith, I am talking all my money. If I can hold on at 6-5, I'm dangerous in the contest. I'll play it.
Maggie, who would you put all your money on in this Pennsylvania Derby?
I'm hoping Dick is wrong, as I do like Magic Tap in here. I just could not get over, Danny, how well this horse has turned out. But to be fair, in the paddock, I certainly couldn't eliminate anyone. Who are you going with?
Well, I'm all in on the favorite as well, Saudi Crown. I love the way he galloped over the track. I think Florent's going to be aggressive with him, try to control the pace, and we'll see if that old saying rings true. Bet a gray on a rainy day.
Yeah, and guys, I think that's how we're all going today. 3 great horses in this race. We're hoping one of them gets the job done in this Grade 1 Pennsylvania Derby.
We're about to find out. Junior Alvarado, you're on board. You're in the cockpit, Junior Alvarado. Aboard Scotland for Bill Mott, and an outsider with some upside exiting the Travers. He was only 7-1 in the Travers.
Yeah, again, I liked him that day, Lafitte. I don't like him as much this day because I think there's other speed in the race. I think he's outside rather than inside. That race, there was just no other speed at all, so he was able to control it. I think they're going fast. Brad Cox says he doesn't necessarily need the lead. With Saudi Crown, he better be on the lead. I don't want him anywhere but in front in this race. Let's not fool around here. Let's not think about things. Let's go to the front.
How aggressive will Juan Hernandez, as you look at Junior Alvarado, but how aggressive will Juan Hernandez be on Reincarnate from the far outside?
Well, that's what this barn does. It's an aggressive barn. Baffert, look, he came out of the quarter horse world. He's never forgotten how speed wins in horse racing. So I think he'll be aggressive. Lafitte, I think inherently he's not quite as fast as Saudi Crown. Saudi Crown is sprint fast, so I think that's how he gets there. But this run to the first turn is the absolute race within the race.
What a moment. Juan Hernandez, first ride at Parks in the Pennsylvania Derby. Keith, a final thought before we get set?
It's going to be a great race. The speed has been holding up all day. That's the horse that gets the lead has a very good chance to hold on to it.
Very likely Saudi Crown. We'll see. All about the break. 6-5 the favorite at post time for the Grade 1 Pennsylvania Derby. Jessica Paquette standing by.
And now they're all in. Off and racing in the Bet Parks Pennsylvania Derby. Bit of an awkward beginning for Croupi, who broke towards the back. Saudi Crown bounds to the lead. Up to keep him company, Scotland to the outside, West Coast Cowboy. But it is Saudi Crown who is quickest of all, and he is going to show them the way into the first turn. Saudi Crown, then it's Scotland, West Coast Cowboy, being fanned a bit wide, Reincarnate, then backing on the rail, the gray Magic Tap in between horses, Gilmore, the hometown hero, Daydreaming Boy, right to his outside, Il Miracolo, then it's back to Dreamlike, a long way back to Modern Era, the Maiden, and Reincarnate, he can see them all. The opening quarter, 23 flat, Scotland a comfortable length and a half, 2 length. Saudi Crown a comfortable 2-length advantage over Scotland, who's tracking in second. Saudi Crown let out a notch under Florent Giroux, and he is content to open up. Magic Tap is moving up into that second flight. Scotland right to his outside. Reincarnate, West Coast Cowboy. Then it's back to Gilmore, right to his outside. Il Miracolo, followed by Daydreaming Boy. Dreamlike has moved up a little bit closer. Then a long way back to Croupi trying to get in gear. And Modern Era, the half, 47-1. There's less than a half mile left to go in the Pennsylvania Derby. Saudi Crown has led every step of the way. Reincarnate now coming up to challenge. He's a length off. Magic Tap in on the rail. Il Miracolo's beginning to move now. Scotland dropping out of it. Gilmore picking up some pieces as they make their way through the turn. There's a quarter mile left to go, and the cheer of the crowds welcomes them at the finish line. Saudi Crown, he hits the top of the stretch in command. Magic Tap coming up the rail. Reincarnate spinning his wheels, needs to do a bit better. Dreamlike is flying late. Il Miracolo with a shot. Saudi Crown has led every step of the way. Can he take them home? There's a 16th left to go. Saudi Crown on the outside. Dreamlike flying, but it's a coronation for Saudi Crown in the Pennsylvania Derby. He gets the win over Dreamlike, and a photo for the Shoto. Final time.
Thrilling finish in the Grade 1, 43rd running of the Pennsylvania Derby, and Saudi Crown just able to hold off the late charging Dreamlike in a thriller.
Kind of looked like a replay of the Cotillion, no? Same kind of a deal. We had the horse loose on the lead, and Saudi Crown got it easily. Fractions similar again to the Cotillion, 47-1. You see up there 112, and Dreamlike for Todd Pletcher, who's had some really good races and then some very perplexing races. Here comes Irad Ortiz. Again, just like at the Cotillion, doesn't quite get there. And I said Saudi Crown all week. I said he'd win easy. He won. He didn't win easy.
By about a half a length, Saudi Crown must have said, oh, no, not Forte again. Yeah. I know those colors. Not Forte again. It was Dreamlike and a late charge with Arad Ortiz. Florent Giroux aboard Saudi Crown by about a half length. Big effort. Dreamlike here in an exciting addition to this Grade 1 Pennsylvania Derby. Saudi Crown, and you see he digs, he fights. See how he just pins his ears there?
Yep.
Giving you everything, giving Florent Giroux everything he had late.
Look, Lafitte, you're a student of history of this game. The greatest front-running rider of the modern era is Patrick Valenzuela. I think this kid, and he's not a kid anymore, I think he's the modern-day P-Val. He sends him, he holds him off. It's hard to catch him when he's in front, especially when he's in front with a really good horse like Saudi Crown. And Dreamlike, I thought, was sensational to run second. There was nothing about that horse that you suggested he could run that kind of race, but he did today.
Let's go back to the start. Saudi Crown, post 3, reincarnate, far outside. How aggressive would Juan Hernandez be? For Saudi Crown, not a great break, kind of a flat-footed actually, and then Florent Giroux asks him to pick it up and quickly accelerates and establishes a lead.
That's what I love. To your point, Lafitte, he didn't break great, but if you've watched Florent's hands there, he immediately pushed for like, what, 10 strides. The horse immediately cleared, then he took him back, then he just chilled out. He had the lead clear, and at that point, you don't need to ask anymore. You've already got the horse where you want him, and at that point, everybody's going to be very lucky if they catch him, and none of them could.
Just couldn't reel him in. Saudi Crown coming off that second place finish in the Jim Dandy. No, it wasn't Forte. It was those micropole colors in Dreamlike and a late charge, but too much Saudi Crown. Saudi Crown in the 43rd running of the Grade 1 Pennsylvania Derby. Results, reaction when we come back. The Bet Parks Pennsylvania Derby has been brought to you by Parks Casino and Racetrack. This is how you win. And by the Pennsylvania Thoroughbred Horsemen's Association. It's fun to see them run. By the Pennsylvania Horse Racing Association, what a ride. And by the Pennsylvania Horse Breeders Association. Pennsylvania is the only place to breed and race. Pennsylvania's biggest day of racing. Parks's signature race. High fives all around Florent Giroux. And Saudi Crown holding on. The favorite delivers in the Pennsylvania Derby.
Did indeed. And it's interesting. There's so many connections here. There's an objection. We're not 100% sure what this is. We don't think it involves the winner, but we haven't gotten any. There's no numbers moving that I have seen at this point. We're watching a stretch run on our other monitor, and I'm not seeing anything as Florent Giroux comes into the winner's circle with Saudi Crown. So the connections are this. Dreamlike is trained by Todd Pletcher. Saudi Crown is by Always Dreaming. It just happened to be Todd Pletcher's first Derby winner. Shouldn't Always Dreaming be the sire of Dreamlake? What's going on here? But Dreamlake is by Gunrunner, who we mentioned ran second in this race several years in 2016, but has been a real factor in this race. We mentioned he had the Derby winner and the Cotillion winner last year. Dreamlake ran a winning race, but Saudi Crown gets the crown here in this year's PA Derby. Here's a sign.
Gunrunner.
We're still waiting to see who's objecting against who. Again, we don't think it involves the winner, but we're just not sure. Again, you see Florent Giroux, the gray horse in front. Saudi Crown, he's been there the whole way. Dreamlake is far outside. You see the Rapoli colors, as Lafitte mentioned.
Looking to accelerate late.
Yeah, for a minute I thought he was going to get there. The strides were really huge, but then you see Florent pushing hard and getting it, and he responded. I'd say the last maybe 10 yards, he wasn't really gaining very much at that point.
First Pennsylvania Derby win for trainer Brad Cox, standing by with Maggie.
Just another Grade 1 to add to the impressive training record of Brad's. And Saudi Crown, you said that this is the goal. And I feel like, Brad, when you set a target for a horse, it usually pays off.
Well, you know, I want to thank the owners. They're very patient, a very passionate group of owners, as you can see in the winner's circle. And you want to thank them for the opportunity with the horse. And, you know, he's been a very talented horse from the start. We brought him to Saratoga last summer as a 2-year-old. He showed a tremendous amount of ability. He had a setback. These guys were all about giving him the time, being patient, doing right by the horse. It paid off today. So, big win.
Brett, a huge training feat too, because when this horse debuted at the sprint distances, he just looked free running. So to be able to harness that speed now and stretch it out to 9 furlongs is impressive.
Yeah, no, it is. And I mean, he's a horse with enough leg and the pedigree, obviously by a Derby winner out of a Tappet mare that we always thought was stretched, but obviously had enough speed, like you said, to you know, perform well around one turn. And you know, that's what a good horse does. I mean, they do what you ask of him, and he's, you know, 2 noses from being undefeated and beaten by 2 very good horses. But you know, this was good to knock this grade one out, you know, for the owners and obviously the horse, and a big victory.
Breeders' Cup Classic?
Ooh, we'll see. You know, look, we'll let the dust settle, getting back home, ship back to Churchill tomorrow morning, you know, enjoy the win, and probably so. Probably so.
Love it. Enjoy this win, though, Brad. Congrats.
Thank you very much.
Saudi Crown paying off as the favorite. We'll see. Breeders' Cup Classic next, Lafitte.
I thought he might pivot, much like Gunrunner, who ran second that you mentioned. He went on to the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile and ran second. I always thought the belief was that a 1.25 miles would be out of his scope. Maybe not.
He's getting better with each race. We've mentioned it. So, yeah, maybe we see him at Santa Anita at early November.
We object to the objection. It's official. Saudi Crown, Florent Giroux, Brad Cox for both first wins in the Grade 1 Pennsylvania Derby. In the books, it's official. The Pennsylvania Derby, 420 for Saudi Crown. What do you know?
I like the 20 cents, Lafitte. Yeah, look, Saudi Crown, we always knew he was going to be the favorite, and he ran like exactly like I thought he would.
Ridden beautifully right from the start by jockey Florent Giroux, standing by with Maggie.
Here with winning rider Florent Giroux, and Florent, a horse that has showed so much ability so far in his career, and he really kind of ran on today, which was something that he lacked in his last 2 starts.
No, he was, you know, honestly, he's like you said, you know, he's 2 noses away from being undefeated, and both by very good horses in their own kind, especially last out, you know, against the champion 2-year-old Forte, which was our first time running that ground of distance and the first time 2-turn. So I thought today, with the 2-turn race under his belt, and you know, another race is a little more polished now, we thought, you know, if he break good, he will be very hard to catch.
Well, he's putting it all together. Congratulations, flawless ride.
Thank you very much, Maggie.
All right, Florent Giroux, Saudi Crown, victorious.
You know what we learned today, Dick? It's good to have speed in these dirt races. Dry, wet doesn't matter. Like speed is a good thing.
Yeah, there's no question. You could see it kind of early on the card today, but generally on any sloppy track, as we talked about, speed is good. But yeah, it really held today. But you know what? Most of the best horses today had speed early on in the card, and certainly at the end of the card. It was no surprise that Ceiling Crusher was good enough to win. She had the paper, and certainly Saudi Crown on paper with the buyer figures, and as a charter member of the buyer figure club, I had to pick Saudi Crown. How could I not pick Saudi Crown?
Wire to wire in the Pennsylvania Derby. We go right back to Maggie for final thoughts in this Pennsylvania Derby Saturday.
Well, Lafitte, as many great trainers have said, you can't train speed. You either have it or you don't, and a lot of good horses had it today. But Danny, Matt, what a fantastic day despite the weather. Matt, what'd you think of your first PA Derby?
I had a blast. Like you said, despite the weather, you know, the horses came through. We had a blast inside the grandstand. Met a lot of great people. Memories were made, and I'm ready for another 13.
I'm a little upset you don't have any face paint on. You failed me.
No, I took it off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't,
so he says.
Yeah,
so.
For 5 minutes.
Danny, but excellent job today. And really, it's such a celebration of Pennsylvania racing.
Well, it is, and it was so cool to get to see our local horses shine. Of course, we saw some great performances. Ben Salem will be rocking tonight. And I can't wait for next year, guys. Hopefully with some sun.
Yes, hopefully the sun will be shining here in Ben Salem yet again. But Lafitte, Dick, we couldn't have asked for more fun here hanging out with you guys in the paddock.
Really good stuff, guys. Thanks so much. No, it's not 59 degrees. Dick, what will be your lasting impression? I mean, the Pennsylvania Derby just took place minutes ago. What your lasting impression of this afternoon racing?
Just seeing all the good horses come in again, Lafitte. It's just so much fun for a track like Parks to get to host all these, as we mentioned, the legendary trainers, and seeing these horses improving. Like Ceiling Crusher was, we mentioned, a horse who was just in California bred races and then up to a grade 3, and now has proved that she's as good as any in the country as she held off the terrific eventual, I think, 3-year-old filly champion and pretty mischievous. And to see Brad Cox Cox, he came here several years ago with Monomoy Girl, finished first in the Cotillion, got DQ'd. I'm sure he was very disappointed, but he didn't say, I'm not ever coming back to Parks.
With Florent Giroux.
Correct.
Yeah.
He came back at this time. There was no DQs. He got the money. And you could see Saudi Crown, and as Maggie just pointed out with Brad, they pointed for this race for months. Everybody's pointing for this race or that race, and the really good trainers, and again, you go back a long way, the Charlie Whittinghams of the world, they see a race, and when they point for it, they don't get beat too often, and I didn't think Saudi Crown was getting beat today.
So as Brad Cox said, they're going to really enjoy this one, enjoy the moment, but we like to look ahead. And this developing Breeders' Cup Classic picture, North America's most prestigious race for older horses, a $6 million purse, first weekend in November at Santa Anita. The older horses, Flightline's not walking through that door anytime soon. The older horse division, it's weak. It's in comparison to most years.
Correct.
So more focus on the 3-year-olds in Saudi Crown. Brad Cox did not rule out the Breeders' Cup Classic. How would he fit in? What do you expect moving forward?
I want to see what the number is. First of all, you want to see, did Dream Lake improve that much that he ran a similar number to what Saudi Crown has been doing, 106, 105 buyer? Because this year, that puts you in the hunt. Last year, that wasn't going to get you in the vicinity, as you mentioned, with Flightline. Arcangelo, I think, is the favorite right now, and he should be after the Belmont Travers double. I mean, that's sensational. But I don't think he has that much distance on the California 3-year-olds, Arabian Night, Go Rocket Ride. And I do think, again, I want to see what the number is, but if Saudi Crown has a number similar to the other ones, we've seen it over and over again. Put him at Santa Anita on the lead and look out.
Let him rip right from the start, as he did on this afternoon. Florent Giroux, Brad Cox, there would be no disappointment in the end, as there was with Monomoy Girl. And the fans here, yeah, the weather, no, Mother Nature, she didn't cooperate, but that's all right. A great time, a great party, great racing. And in the end, for Saudi Crown, a victory in the Pennsylvania Derby. Edwin Maldonado there, wire-to-wire ceiling crusher in the Cotillion for 2-time Derby-winning trainer Doug O'Neill. And Saudi Crown, the favorite, doing his best Holy Bull impersonation in the Pennsylvania Derby. We'll see you next time.